Oh yeah, semifinals, and I'm not surprised to see these two guys here. Just so you're oriented, this is not the Grand Scion Cup that's coming up very soon. This is the Practice Cup, the Scion Mini Cup. The big moolah's not on the line just yet. We're playing for pride here. It's a GVG, but remember both players are allowed to switch their race in between games. And we know both these players know how to handle Keiron. Asur puts his node down at his natural, Stassin going for that tight econ build, minimizing the distance and time his worker spends traveling in the open moments of the game. Asur's the first one to get a manufacturer, but we're not looking mirrored here. Stassin looks to be saving up for a second processing core. It's an expand first build, I think. Yeah, look how he's got this timed out. He's gonna drift right to his natural just as he gets his 400. And now he just has to hope he doesn't get rushed. Because Asur is gonna scout this. He's got an ACR out there already. Oh, are we gonna get to see the inaugural headbutt here? Yes, it is. That means we better get some intros in. He's the ultimate assassin. He is Stassin. And he's about to be scouted. No, he's not. Asur's turned around. I get it. He sees the expansion. He decides that's all he needs to know. No need to put his worker at risk. Our yellow Genetron player's name scrambles into the word Urse or bear. He is Asur! Yes, we have two fierce competitors who take no prisoners. While I was scrambling letters, Stassin got in and got the scout and got out as well. Asur's now expanding as well at his natural, but he's definitely behind on that score. Stassin, on the other hand, is trying to catch up on his manufacturers. He's making two. Oh, his first one finishes and he's gonna join Asur in making Spitfires. Which means it's probably a bad time for Asur's ACR to sneak back in again. Nope, he thought better of it. Nope, he's coming back in. Oh, he's just trying to make it look like he wasn't going in. Now he's going around wide. Is Stassin actually gonna catch this, or is Asur actually gonna be able to stash a worker here? Oh, I do believe that's a blind spot. Let me see if we can prove it. Yes, it is. Well, one thing he can do from there is he can cannon rush. He can leapfrog repulsors from that spot. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. Sometimes it's just so you can get that second scout late in the game. Meanwhile, both our players, yes, both of them, are mining out the backdoor minerals that gives you access to the bottom half of the map. Yes, we are playing on Golden Wall. A map that has as many fun ways to cheese as it does macro. Oh, Stassin's actually taking the lead on Spitfires. I've said it before, Asur will do Spitfires until you force him not to. And since you know he's gonna come at you with a lot of Spitfires in a GVG, I think you have no choice but to make a bunch of your own. At least in the early game, otherwise you're just gonna die. There's Asur's analysis terminal. It's probably for upgrades, but it's also gonna mean he can build repulsors. We're still keeping an eye out for a potential cannon rush. Would he actually risk it in a semi-finals match? Asur putting a lot of nodes at his front door. Good for a wall off, but those are all something that can be attacked. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, Asur's worker blew his cover there. He went for that second scout. Stassin saw it, he's gonna hunt him down. So it wasn't a cannon rush. I got all dressed up for nothing. But it could be our first blood. In fact, it will be. And now it is officially on like Donkey Kong. Both our players just with a single gas so far. Asur taking number 2 and 3 though. Oh, Asur's walled off his front wall. Those do not sink into the ground like supply depots. Oh yeah, he means to make his door on the south side. This is interesting, and I think Stassin needs to know about this. He's also mined out a path to the south side. The dark side of the moon, if you will. We'll see what that means for Stassin. Both players getting +1 attack right now. Or rather, +1 light weapons as it works for Genetron. That, of course, applies to the Spitfires, and I think we're gonna see a lot of those. Oh yeah, look at this. Asur's forces have all deployed to the south side. So he's blocked off the north, and he's gonna try something on the bottom of the map. But if Stassin comes over at the right time, boy, could he supply block him good. And now there's a relay tower being made just at the edge of that wall. Okay, Stassin's sending out a scout. He really needs to see this. Because Asur has just about mined the hole that he needs. No, Stassin, do not be distracted by the glittery gold. Come on up and see. Nope, he's going the wrong way. Oh, Azure's on the move. He's in the south side. Oh, but Stassin had another unit scouting the bottom. It dies, but boy, does he get his money's worth. Look at this. He instantly redeploys his army. If Azure could just roll up into his main with his force, that would have been game. That scout saves Stassin's bacon. But maybe I'm getting carried away. Is Azure actually coming to attack? He's kind of taking the scenic route here. No, he is, and there's a juicy third for him to kill here. Oh, and he's timed this out, so Calibrated Engines is just gonna finish for him. He gets speed right when he needs it most. He doesn't go up the ramp, he goes for the third. Stassin cancels it and decides to hold his main. That is so patient. Stassin calmly rebuilds his third, but on the north side. That would be the side that Asher can't really get to, unless he's gonna mine another hole, which he actually is. He's sending workers to do just that. Stassin finishing +1 armor to go with his +1 attack. And now he's repositioning his forces back to the north. How does he know? Because that's exactly what he should be doing. Azure is indeed making that hole to switch sides on Stassin yet again. He's also making his own third, by the way, which isn't that far behind Stassin's. Oh, Stassin wasn't adjusting to defend. He was adjusting to attack. He's gonna hit that wall. Is Azure gonna see it? He doesn't. He doesn't see it. That is bad for Azure. No, he's coming anyway. That means he's gonna be able to attack Stassin from behind. Unless he goes for an attack of his own. It's a major ships passing in the night. Stassin's gonna hit first. There is a repulsor at the top of that ramp. Stassin instantly shuts it down with his blitzers. Is Azure coming back? He is not. He's gonna attack. This is base racy already. Azure catching all the workers. Stassin taking so much damage. This is terrible for Stassin because he's gotta blow through that wall before he can return the attack. Which he's now done, but he is so far behind. Azure's supply cap is a result, but his overall supply is so much higher than Stassin. Oh, Stassin just lost all his workers. Azure's gonna sacrifice his workers to defend, but he's got Spitfires behind them. Stassin's supply is just gonna plummet here, and is GG for game one. Azure with a custom golden wall strat to take game one. Okay, so I was a little slow on the uptake to fully appreciate what Azure put together there. Whether he planned it deliberately or not, he built the winning conditions for a Spitfire base race. If Stassin would have just spotted Azure slipping to the north side here, he could have done a trade and reset the game. At that point, he had more manufacturers, his third was slightly in the lead, he'd have been okay, or more than okay. But of course, Golden Wall has sight blockers all through that center path. You might as well be myopic and forget your eyewear. You only get to see what's right in front of your face. So instead, it's ships passing in the night. And that means Stassin falls into Azure's trap. Those tasty nodes guard Azure's main just enough, while Azure's Spitfires and one equalizer rip through Stassin's largely unguarded base. Stassin's worker pull is a second too late, and Azure pounces, kills his economy, and it's over. No, it's not over. It's a best of three. Where's our game two? Adjutant, if you would, please.
Minimizing Captain Obvious by 25%. The game begins now.
Whoa, Keiron! Stassin is now Keiron. You're allowed to do that. You can switch. Oh, but it's crazier still. Azure's also switched, but he's gone for Terran. You can only play a standard race once in a match. Azure's decided to do it in game two. Little bit of mind games going on here. Oh, he's doing it for a reason. There's an early scout on the map. It's looking like cheese. He's taking the long way around. Oh, and Stassin's elected to upgrade his citadel before he goes for that edifice. That's far from a build order loss, but it's not ideal. Look at that empty Terran base. Now, because of the games I've cast with Azure in them have all kind of gone like 25 minutes and featured some amazing macro, I've kind of created the impression that Azure is a macro-oriented player. But a number of the games I've watched or cast but not uploaded, Azure's done stuff like this. He's got a full range to his game. So the question is, how long is it going to be before Stassin sniffs this out? He does not have a scout going across the map. He looks to be going for that modern gasless Keiron opening. Now, the one thing to say is this is not a Terran triple racks. Azure's probably not looking to win the game with this. He's not going all in. We see he is making a gas. He's looking to shut down his opponent's natural, which is being made, and just put his opponent on the back foot and get an advantage. Yeah, and Stassin's just not going to see that Rax. He is getting a scout out now. But it's kind of too late. The first Marine's going to be out before his converter actually sniffs out the clues on the bottom side of the map. I mean, Gau's rifle shots are going to be his clue. And in the meantime, Stassin's actually going for a conduit. Remember, you don't actually need gas for that. Marine in production, okay, he's going for a bunker. That is visible. Stassin can see that. Does it react? He's got a Volt at the top of his ramp. He sees it. He's coming around. He has to get the SCV. That's critical. Azur's only got a single worker committed to this. Everything hinges on that worker. SCV's gonna flee. Marine is out. Second Marine in production. Stassin needs another Volt. Oh, the Marine went for the converter, not the Volt. That means the Volt's gonna win here. He kills the Marine. Okay, and he does have a second Volt. Now he can double team any Marines that want to pop out. And I think he's gonna be able to shut it down from here. Azur delays the expand, but that's about it. Yeah, he's gonna lift off. It was a low commitment, but it was not very successful. Oh, he's actually gonna land it. He's not flying it home. What's he gonna do? Use it to block the third? Oh, that's mean. Oh, it looks like Stassin got a little bit of revenge by gas capping the Terran at home. Azur's already trying to transition by getting a factory. Oh, Azur's got a complaint. I'm not sure I understand it. Not sure I understand his issue. I think he's saying he was having troubles attacking. Oh well, game goes on. Maybe he was trying to get the Marine and not the converter. Oh nice, Azur raises the depots and gets the lock-in on that converter. That's the one who gas capped him, so some vengeance is in order here. Stassin's actually got an Echo out on the map somewhere. Double Raxes going down for Azur because he never brought his original one home. So I guess in a sense that did hurt him more than I thought. Echo's here. Me thinks it's gonna be time for a little Discord. Nope, it's a sonic image. And there's the Discord. That's how it's done now. The Echo lays the seeds of its escape. I really do love this new style of Echo. The harass isn't that devastating, but the Echo's really getting a lot of survivability now. And that makes it so irritating. It's almost like a form of psychological warfare. Look at how slow those Raxes are coming up. It's so not the end of the world, but it just throws everything off. So Azur's gonna build a Cyclone to deal with that. And I bet that wasn't his plan. I bet he wanted a tank. This is before the newest patch, which had just come out. Cyclones actually don't require a tech lab anymore, but they do in this game. Oh, this is smart. Azur positions his Cyclone so he can hit the Echo when it teleports. Oh, I thought he had it. It survives. That's like 1 hit point or something. Stassin just barely surviving and getting away there. Oh, this is some high-level stuff. This is play, counter-play, and then some. Okay, so that Rax gave up and is coming home. The gas cap is over. And I guess we can finally get down to quote-unquote the real game now. That was a pretty cool opening. And Stassin has to be happy with how it went. He's got the worker lead. He's definitely got the army lead. And since he made an early conduit, he's got all these extra charges, which he's using to make fuses, which he's using to buff up his pulsars. And pulsars, as we know, are actually pretty good against Marines. And if there's one thing that Echo scouted, it was all those Raxes. Yeah, and Azur's getting stim, but that's a long upgrade, 100 seconds. Oh, Cyclone's gonna scout this, but he did not want to lose that unit. Oh, Azur's gonna see how much trouble he's in. He needs to bunker up. He actually does have one just finishing up right now, but is that enough? He just doesn't have much of an army. Echo's coming back in, but I don't think he can even worry about that right now. Azur's squeezing out every Marine he can. This is gonna be a tough hold for him. And Stassin's already here. The Cyclones are not behind the bunkers. Azur needs a repair. He needs that repair. Stassin's gonna target the workers. This is gonna be close. Stassin might be tying this game up with one bold maneuver, 5 worker kills, and the bunker can no longer be repaired. Azur needs to raise those depots. He does. He locks Stassin out. Unfortunately, Stassin can still feast on the natural. Oh, does Azur wish he had a high ground tank? He does have that second bunker completed, but if he doesn't lift that command center, he's gonna lose it. Stim's not that far from completion. There's a Marauder and 2 Marines on the way here. Stassin's actually getting a 3rd base right now. If he shuts down the 2nd, he's gonna be so far ahead. Azur unloads his bunker to stop the Keiron. It works. That might have just bought him the time he needed. He is actually gonna hold. He's gonna hold. He's gonna keep his natural. There's no question Stassin's happy with the damage he's done here, but Azur is still alive. Remember, it's Stassin who's fighting for his tournament life here. And here's his real prize. The tapioca pudding solidifies into a brand new citadel. I bought one of those babies back in 1996, and let me tell you, the insurance rates are really high. Oh, look who's back yet again. That extra orbital inside Azur's main is really the only thing that's kept him in this game right now. That's the reason he's only down 5 workers. He should be way more behind. Does the Echo have a sonic image? Yes, it does. Those Marines are not going to be able to stop him. Oh, is Azur going to be smart again? Is he going to cover the sonic image? I like this play. Oh, the Marines peeled off. They peeled off at the last second. Stassin escapes. I don't think that's what Azur meant to do. Oh my god, Echo's so frustrating. Anyway, guys, if you are gonna buy a Citadel, I totally recommend you do a thorough inspection first. If there's a Terran bunker in the backyard, I would take a hard pass. Now, I know with real estate prices as they are, you can't be as choosy as you once were, but a Marine-loaded bunker is just bad for resale. Anyway, that's enough real estate advice. Both our players are massing up right now. Azur's definitely on the defense. He's leapfrogging his bunkers forward. Oh, and he's gonna add a sensor tower. I'm really expecting Stassin to transition into myriads. I think it's gonna be a huge problem for Azur. I think he knows it. I think that's one of the reasons why he's adding in those marauders. Azur's gonna take a third. Yeah, Stassin has his foundry, but there's no atrium as of yet. He's sticking with his pulsar volt comp. Oh, look who's back. Until you make a starport and get a Viking, I'm gonna make your life miserable. Stassin pushing out again. The difference being this time Terran has a tank. Echo gets away with another sonic image. Azur's forced to invest in a missile turret. Not what he wants right now because he's under attack. The pulsars have the dampener upgrade, so they're taking less damage from that tank splash. But the volts, not so much. Stassin's gonna swing his army around to the other opening. Azur's still scrambling to set up his defense there. There is a tank nestled behind that orbital. 2 actually now, but is it enough? Stassin goes for the throat. He goes after the mineral line. The Marines stem. They do not have a medevac though. Oh, and the siege tanks are doing friendly fire to the mineral line. Ultimately, Azur doesn't care. He just needs to stop Stassin in his tracks. And I think he's done it. Ochre-colored splats of goo litter the ground. And for a brief second, Azur was way up on army. Stassin rebuilds back at home though, and in particular, he's added gyres. Now that is awesome because I think the last time we actually had those on this channel, they were called paradoxes. The gyre may look and move the same, but really, it's a completely different unit. Hey, that little infused scout is being pretty bold. He's like coming halfway up the stairs. Like the other volts around the map, he's set on patrol, but I think this one is actually like, can be seen by Azur. Anyways, I hope we get to see those gyres in action. Oh, he's infused them. This is very common now. Gyres are spellcasters, but they're short range. They have to get in close, so they take a lot of hits, and one of the solutions has definitely been to use fuses. Ah, Azur's making reactored medevacs. He needs that healing. He's been lacking that. You can see Stassin trying to catch back up on army. He's definitely got the economy to do it. He's up 20 workers and he has that extra base. He's adding more sanctums and more edifices. I really thought we'd be seeing myriads by now. 3 infused gyres now. They have a spell that can only be described as alien abduction. They swoop in, pick up units, and kind of dangle them around. Hopefully we get to see it. Just like hopefully we actually get to see that Echo die one day. So it's a feather in Azur's cap that he's survived repeatedly here, but he's kind of pinned down in his base. He needs to take a 4th, and there's no easy way to do it. I guess step 1 is he's gotta kill the Volt that's running around his base. As soon as Azur tries to step out, Stassin's gonna know about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Azur's not in danger of mining out right now, but he's got triple orbitals on the go here. I think if Azur actually knew he had the army advantage right now, he'd be wanting to use it. Oh, there's that invincible Echo. He's also on the patrol. Stassin has pushed out, though I'm not so sure he's looking to attack into the Terran again. I think he's just looking for 4th base denial here. We'll see. Yeah, I think he means to stop Azur from expanding to this location here. Meanwhile, he'll enjoy his oversaturated 4th base. Oh, I could be mistaken. Echo soaks some missile turret hits and then Stassin pulls back. I can't believe the Echo's still alive, but even more crazy is that that Volt is still alive. I mean, an infuse does not make you invincible or invisible, but I guess he's somehow inazurable. Stassin's building an Oculus now. I think he's actually going to get vision of the Terran base. Or maybe just outside it. With his superior economy, he's now leapfrogged over Asur on army size. And he's close to maxing out. He's actually got 87 workers. Oh yeah, there's 2 Oculuses. I mean, you can't just have one VR headset. You need one for your buddy. Yeah, this definitely has the hallmarks of a contain. Oh, look where he dropped that. That is so annoying. I mean, you're trying to eat lunch and somebody drops one of those on top of you. What if you're like a Marine on the can? Hey, a little privacy here, you pervert. Maybe somebody needs to acquaint the Keiron with basic privacy laws. Okay, so Asur definitely knows Stassin's on his doorstep now. He poked up there to look for the Oculus and then saw the army. Oh, he's gonna try to land a CC there anyway. That is not gonna work. Does he have a high ground tank? He might be able to bait Stassin into overreaching. But that is a big, big army. It's a bit of a standoff. Stassin knows he shouldn't go up that ramp. Asur probably knows he better not go down it. Just so you know, guys, I know there's a conspiracy theory out there that prolonged exposure to an Oculus pool causes hair loss. That's never actually been demonstrated in a peer review study. So don't go spreading that around your echo chamber. Oh, Asur's done a liftoff here. He's gonna try to attack. Test bolt goes up the ramp and he just gets obliterated by the tanks. Oh, the Echo spots the Doom drop. That is terrible for Asur. He tries to boost away. The Echo's gonna be too fast. He's gotta drop his cargo to save his medevacs. Oh, and Asur finally gets the Echo. He's been fantasizing about that all game long. Stassin attacks! If you picked up your units for a Doom drop, that means you can't defend. A great read by Stassin. He's pushing in. The gyres just swept in there and picked up a ton of units. Is Asur gonna bring his army home or is he gonna try to race? He is bringing it home. That means he should be able to clean this up, but Stassin's gonna have an opportunity to do a lot of damage before then. Yep, here come the medevacs back. All they really achieved on their Doom drop voyage was to discover that Stassin has taken a 5th base. In fact, he's actually taken a 6th, which is why Asur really needs to take that 4th. There is not much left to like about Asur's position right now. He's gonna need to find some way to flip the script here. Oh, a little follow-up assault from some Volts. That might actually be brilliant. Terran moved his army to the 4th, so he comes right up the center. Maybe he can catch that tank before it's sieging. He does! Oh, that was a great little snipe by Stassin there. Oh, and he actually baited out a stim of Asur's entire army. That is gonna suck up a ton of medevac energy to fix. Speaking of which, there's a new medevac upgrade. Not in this game, but it's gonna double the rate of medevac regeneration. I have no idea how they're gonna make that balanced. Oh, Asur stims again. He's on the warpath here. But this is where he discovers that Stassin's teched up on him. Myriads are here, Inducers are here, and Titans are here. The good news for Asur, though, is he did clean up that Oculus. That thing was like a tabloid reporter. It had a telephoto lens and was taking shots of his front lawn. Stassin retaliates by calmly taking the 7th base. That's the one with the rich gas geyser. Asur's looking to set up the Terran turtle at his 4th. Not sure Stassin's gonna let him though. Look at that fleet of infused gyres. Forward built, backed by Titans. There's a wall backed by a siege tank. But the Keiron barbarian horde is just too huge. Gyres again with the pickup. They actually grab the tank and a ton of bio to boot. Myriad Elytra is actually not very effective against building. Or stim marauders for that matter. Somehow Asur survived again. I'm not sure how. But in doing so, Asur's got the bigger army once again. He's not that far off behind in supply. He looks like his composition's all marauder, but that's because the gyres murdered his marines. Oh, Asur's gonna try and take a 5th. But the pariahs have been camping out there waiting for him since 1973. Now Asur would love to get rid of that 2nd Oculus pool, but he can't because it's been nestled behind the rocks. What he is gonna find though is Stassin's rich gas geyser base. Sort of unguarded except for the pariahs that are murdering his own base. Asur's gonna retaliate. He's gonna swing his army over. Yeah, he's gonna stim to do it. He's got the medevac support now. Stassin is essentially maxed. He's actually got 94 workers. And in so doing, he maxes out with a somewhat smallish army. Asur's gonna rely on mules and get himself a bigger army. Oh, it looks like Asur's gonna actually get himself his first base kill. Yes, it's gonna be a campfire marshmallow. Are we witnessing the start of a comeback here? Stassin's way out on the other side of the map, but he's thinking an eye for an eye, a base for a base. He knows he can afford to lose like 3 or 4. Asur cannot. There's a lone liberator for defense. Will Asur come home again to defend, or is it a base race? It looks like Asur's keeping his main army abroad. There might be something in the water these days. We're seeing a lot of base races. Yeah, there's about to be another campfire marshmallow. Oh, but no, Asur's coming home. He's coming home. But not before his 4th base is lost. And Stassin's not satisfied. He's gonna try and finish the job here. Gyre's moving in for the sweep. They're gonna reverse the gravimetric polarity of those marauders. Oh, it's a long way across the map for Asur's army to come home to defend. They're finally here, but so much damage has been done. And now he's got giant blue scarab beetles all over his steps. And his bio ball is really injured. Lots of yellow and red already. It's gonna be very close as to whether he can hold here. He gets the Titan, but it's still a GG. And Stassin ties it up 1 game apiece. We are going to the rubber match. Okay, so these 2 awesome players are gonna treat us to a game 3. A few thoughts first though. I can't get away without addressing how limited the myriads were in this game. Strange thing to say, I know, since Stassin won. But it wasn't because of the myriads. And I have to own it because I don't think I've done a KVT cast this year without droning on about how great myriads are against Marines. Part of this was just because Asur made sure to load up on Marauders. But another part of it was because the myriads Elytrons were targeting buildings. I want to make sure people know this. Elytrons are very poor against buildings. Takes them forever to bring a building down. If you're ever stuck base racing and you have fallen into a trap in which you've made a lot of myriads, you need to remember that the myriad itself has an attack. It's called lunge. Its front legs have a powerful swiping animation. Typically, you avoid using lunge as you want to keep the myriad back in a safe position where it'll be safe to autocast build more of the all-important Elytrons. But sometimes you want to actually use the lunge attack, such as in a base race, where you also want it dealing damage on top of the Elytrons. But to get it to work, you have to actually move the myriad forward so it's adjacent to the thing you want to attack. Otherwise, your attack command is presumed to be a command for the Elytrons, and the myriad just sits there. But what I really want to talk about here is the gyre. Alien abduction people. How awesome is Stassin for showing us what the gyre is capable of? The gyre has gone from an unused backup detector to key mass combat piece that a Keiron player will literally save up their gas for. In fact, I believe it's even under consideration for the nerf bat. Or more nerf bat, I should say. First, I want to quickly remind you all that the gyre, once called the Paradox, no longer has the prison ability. That was a super cool visual that got removed once players figured out how to abuse it. All it did was trap units in place for a time, which I frankly thought wasn't terribly useful. But if you combine it with the Paragon's emissary orb, you could really nuke your opponent's army with impressive precision. As a fan, I loved it because it required a lot of skill to pull off, and the resulting visual was tremendous. But yeah, balance is a thing. Now, the ability you witnessed in this game, the replacement ability, is called Annex. And what Annex does is it picks up units and prevents them from attacking. The closest analogy being a Phoenix's graviton beam. The difference being you have to actually sweep over the units you want to affect. At one time, Annex actually also did damage as well, but that's been removed. The crazy part, though, is that when using Annex, you can actually pick up to 10 units at a time. 10. This gives the gyre the theoretical potential to utterly alter a combat and swing it in Keiron's favor. But realistically, grabbing 10 dudes is pretty hard to do, because you have to actually sweep the gyre over top of an enemy unit to pick it up. The other key limitation is it has a very short duration, just a few seconds, and then the enemy units are plopped back down, whereupon they can immediately kill the gyre. What Stassin was doing, though, was chaining the Annex, using it multiple times. This is what makes the Annex deadly. I can tell you, this takes serious practice to pull off, and your ordinary Joe is not going to be able to make that work, especially when you're trying to babysit the rest of your battle. And of course, you can't chain indefinitely. Each use takes 50 energy. But in theory, that's still 4 times in a row. Yes, the gyre does have a second spell called Influx, which gives the gyre a further instant 50 energy, which is enough for an Annex, but it also loses 100 hit points of its shields when it does so, which means the gyre is pretty vulnerable as it only has 125 hit points left. There might be a way to get around this using stack fuses though. Anyways, we didn't come here to listen to me wax on about the gyre. We've come here to watch these two titans decide who is going to the finals. And it's all coming down to this next game. Adjutant, if you would please.
Enhancing elimination game drama to maximum. The game begins now.
Okay, this is it. This is for all the marbles. Not surprised to see Asur's gone back to Genetron. And it looks like Stassin's gonna ride the hot hand. He's gonna stick with the Keiron. Go with what works because nobody wants to get burned on Blackburn. If it's been a while since you've seen this baby, it's an isometric map with gold bases. The gold bases are close and somebody's always making a play for them. Last game I didn't get a chance to do intros because I got distracted by the cheese. Our Keiron player's fighting for a finals berth. He is Stassin! It's energized, followed by Citadel once again. Asur building at the top of his main and not the expansion. Very tight choke at that main. He's just 1 game away from victory. He is Asur! Both our players now look to be queuing up minerals. Expansions are gonna be underway, but neither player's looking to block off the ramp at their expansion. Could it be that one of our players is gonna go for that fast gold? No, not Stassin and not Asur either, I know. Way to take all the tension out of the game, guys. I pump up that gold base and then everyone ignores it. On that note though, both our players are gonna scout. And hopefully they will both at least check to see if their opponent's taking the gold so I don't look completely washed. Oh, collision course! Oh, the workers are stuck. They're having a little powwow here. I think a little trash talk was exchanged before they went on their way. Stassin, though, actually going to check the back door. I'm not sure why. He can't see up there. I think he's actually misrallied. I don't think that was intentional at all. Asur takes a quick peek. He gets out of there. He knows it's bad luck to be the first blood. The stats do not bear that up, though, I can tell you that. But Stassin says, I'll take 50 free minerals. Nope, no he does not, because Asur gets away, and my batting average is not very impressive. First blood goes to Asur. Stassin starts shaping in a sanctum. We know he's a man who likes a pulsar. Watch me be wrong on that too. No headbutt there, apparently you can phase through your own units. Fast conduit for Stassin. You gotta think he wants to replicate some of his success with that Echo. Single Spitfire coming up to test the ramp. I don't think he's gonna like what he's gonna see. Triple volts right at the top. As good as Spitfires are, they can't deal with that. Oh, Asur getting away again. Stassin prioritizing covering his ramp over getting kills. Second Sanctum. Asur's built an analysis terminal and he's already getting +1 attack for Genetron light weapons. Then he puts down that outfitting station, which is almost certainly so he can get those Spitfire upgrades. In swiping the famed double negative of Artosis, I never not get Spitfire speed. Asur pulling in more minerals, Stassin pulling in more gas. There goes the Echo. We just need units named Boom and Bust so we can have Boom, Bust, and Echo. Oh, look at that. Stassin knows I'm observing his Echo, so he's going to wait for me to look away. Then he's going to strike. Asur's got an ACR scouting around the map. Here comes the Echo. Is he going to land that Discord? Drops the sonic image, and he puts the Discord right over the Blitzer that's in production. It's a neat choice because that's the only thing that Asur has that can shoot up. But it's not like he's slowing down a mineral line. Spitfire speed has begun. Foundry down for Keiron. Blitzer's almost done. It's taking an agonizingly long time with that Discord in effect. You know what? I find when I have my Discord tab open, my work is slowed down too. Asur pulls the Blitzer off its rally and gets to work on that Echo. We already know though from experience that Stassin's gonna save it. He's got that image ready. Unless he's looking away. He should be just fine, unless he's looking away. No, he's out of there. But if it's anything like Game 2, we know he'll be back. Azur's got a minion on patrol in that third base location, but I'm gonna pretend it's really positioned there just so he can keep tabs on whether Stassin's taking his gold. Stassin's made a bunch of fuses using his conduit. He's got them infusing his volts. But if Game 2's any indication, he's later gonna flip them onto his pulsars. Oh, Azur's stashing up minerals. Is he gonna expand? I think he is. It's a ninja expand. Serious mind games here because that is not a gold base. The Echo checks the gold and finds it empty. Still not a lot of anti-air for Azur though, just that one blitzer. The Echo's all jumping at shadows. He's like, where's that blitzer? We're definitely taking notice of all those nodes partially walling off his ramp there. Certainly haven't forgotten Game 1 where he sealed it off. And then from there he went on to win a base race. I'm sure Stassin hasn't forgotten. Even if he doesn't repeat that tactic, just by mimicking a little bit, it's almost a bit of psychological warfare. Azur's researching those madcap rounds, increasing his Spitfire range by +1. There we go, infused pulsars. I'm much more enthused by those. Azur's watching both of Stassin's base expansions, so he knows he's ahead on bases, whereas Stassin's Echo scouting is giving him a rather incomplete picture. He doesn't know about the ninja expand, but he might suspect something's up at this point. He's sending out a team of volts for some recon. Oh, Azur's also pushing out. He just finished his madcap rounds and he's ready to rock. Definitely feels a bit like Game 1. Everybody's pushing out at the same time and they're kind of missing each other. Stassin taking a more direct route here. That could work to his advantage. Azur is powering at home, so he won't be completely undefended here. Oh, he's gonna catch the smaller Volt army. He's just gonna pick this right off. That is bad for Stassin. The law of numbers hands an early victory to Azur. Stassin discovers his opponent has moved out, and so now he's gonna go. He can feast on that natural. There needs to be a worker pull. There it is. Workers are dying. Azur's retreated his army to his ramp to hold his main. Oh, that's a tough take up that ramp. Oh, and he's brought his other army back. It's gonna be a sandwich here. Stassin's gonna get flanked. Stassin is gonna be flanked. He lost everything. His army has crumbled. He's got nothing. He needs to shape in units now. Azur has sprinted onto the attack. Stassin is not making army units. He needs to be doing that. The fuses have spotted it, but his third is a sacrificial lamb. Here comes the shape-in. Azur is gonna get up that ramp though. The pulsars need to hold this. The pulsars need to hold. There's 2 Umbrae in the back, adding to the damage output. But the concave on the Spitfires is too good. Oh, the worker pulls just a half second too late. The mice are gonna die on the ramp. Azur picking up so many kills. Genetron is on top of Keiron's production. Stassin's pulling the mice. He hits the energize to give them army. Azur pulls back to deny them the bonus. 31 dead workers. And Azur's making 7 Spitfires behind this to reinforce. He knows the natural is his to command. But he wants the kill. He wants the main. He goes for the hamster balls. He gets them. More workers dying, trying to hold. The Umbrae are just shooting too slowly. Echo shows up, but he can't shoot down. It's GG, it's too much pain. Stassin throws in the towel. Azur wins. Azur's going to the finals. I am so happy for Azur, but I am also kind of bummed that Stassin's not going to be in this anymore. It's hard to imagine this without him. Too much emotion for me to do any kind of decent analysis here. Let's let Game 3 speak for itself. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who have no tolerance for my slow upload schedule, remember October 21st, you can watch the Grand Scion Cup live. Oh my God, that is a total pulsar sandwich. So much so that I think I'm hungry. All right, well, let me just say then, from my base to yours, Zugzwang out.